Hello, welcome to the daily English news program on Azərbaycan Televiziya with the most important events of the day. I am your host, Ilham Məmmədov. On September 13th, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Ilham held an operational meeting with the leadership of the Armed Forces of the Republic of Azerbaijan regarding provocations committed by Armenia on the Armenia-Azerbaijan border. Relevant reports were presented at the meeting. It was stated that the provocations committed by Armenian armed forces on the border of the two states had been prevented and all relevant duties and tasks had been fulfilled. It was noted that the responsibility for tension falls entirely on the political leadership of Armenia. The operational situation along the border is under the control of Azerbaijan's armed forces. On September 13th, President Ilham Aliyev received the delegation led by President of EBRD, Odile Rino Basso.
The sides discussed issues related to the expansion of cooperation between Azerbaijan and European Bank for Reconstruction and Development in various areas. In particular, the sides emphasized the support for economic activity in the non-oil sector, the implementation of projects on the creation of jobs, EBRD's participation and support for increasing private sector financing along with the state enterprises, as well as projects being implemented in the field of renewable and alternative energy in Azerbaijan. During the conversation, the sides also touched upon prospects of the project signed between EBRD and the Azerbaijan Caspian Shipping Company, closed joint stock company the day before, and the provision of a loan in the amount of $100 million. The parties exchanged views on the possible participation of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development in the expansion of the Thousand Gas Corridor project, which is of a particular importance for European energy security. They touched upon the cooperation in the field of telecommunications and stressed the importance of signing the grant credit and project agreements on the street lighting project to be implemented as part of the Ganja Green City program. The sides also discussed the prospects for the implementation of similar projects in other cities of Azerbaijan.
On September 13th, President Ilham Aliyev visited the Embassy of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and extended his condolences on the death of Elizabeth II, the Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The head of state was met by the Ambassador of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland to Azerbaijan, fevralın. President Ilham Aliyev signed a book of condolences. Then the head of state talked to the ambassador. President Ilham Aliyev said he knew the Queen personally, saying that they met twice. The first time was before he was elected as president when he was invited to Buckingham Palace in 1997 on the occasion of the Queen's birthday. At that time, I was invited as vice president of SOCAR. Of course, there were many people there, but that was the first time we met. After that, I had the opportunity to meet with Her Majesty the Queen during my visit to her country. She was a very kind person, said President Ilham Aliyev. Saying that delegation recently presented the Queen with a Karabakh horse on his behalf, and although she was already experiencing some health issues, she personally accepted the gift. The President added that she was a very nice person, a great figure, and of course, first of all, a historic figure who was a symbol of Britain. I offer my condolences on behalf of the people of Azerbaijan. I have also sent a letter of condolences to the King. I indicated in the letter that I was sure that our relations would continue to develop successfully because we have really reached close relations in many areas, and I hope that these relations will continue to expand even more in the near future, stated President Ilham Aliyev. Thanking President Ilham Aliyev for coming to the embassy to offer his condolences, Ambassador of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland to Azerbaijan, fevralın, also expresses gratitude for letters of condolences to King Charles and the Prime Minister. Your attention is very important to the development of relations between our countries. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, received senior advisor of the U.S. Department of State for Caucasus negotiations, Philip Riker. The sides discussed the large-scale provocations committed by the Armenian armed forces in the Kalbajar, Lachin and Zangilan directions of the border of the two countries on September 13th. The head of state noted that Azerbaijan has taken measures in response to Armenia's provocations, adding that responsibility for the provocation rests squarely with the military and political leadership of Armenia. During the conversation, they stressed the importance of ensuring peace and stability in the region, normalizing relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and continuing the peace agenda. According to the press service of the President, on September 13th, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken phoned President Ilham Aliyev. During the phone conversation, U.S. State Secretary expresses concern on the escalation of tension on the Armenia-Azerbaijan state border. President Ilham Aliyev noted that this tension had been caused by a large-scale provocation by Armenia, and the responsibility for that fully lied with the political military leadership of Armenia. Anthony Blinken said the U.S. will continue its efforts to ensure lasting peace and security in the region and normalization of relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The head of our state said he supported the peace agenda and noted the importance of continuation of efforts in this direction. President Ilham Aliyev shared a post on his official Twitter account. The tweet reads, "I extend my deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of the military personnel and to the entire Azerbaijani people on the deaths of the servicemen who reached martyrdom during the prevention of large-scale provocation by the Armenian armed forces in the direction of Kəlbəcər, Laçin, Daşkəsən and Zəngilan districts on September 13th. May our martyrs rest in peace. Their blood was avenged." President Ilham Aliyev signed an executive order on some measures regarding the continuation of the reconstruction works of the highways in the Yasamal district of Baku. According to the executive order, Azərbaycan Avtomobil Yolları State Agency was allocated 1,700,000 manats in this regard. The military units of the Armenian armed forces tried to cause sabotage in the direction of Zəngilan region of the state border along with Kəlbəcər and Laçin regions. The units of the State Border Service resolutely prevented these provocations and inflicting strong and crushing blows on the Armenian military units. The enemy retreated with heavy losses. The information was reported by the press center of the State Border Service. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ceyhun Bayramov comprehensively informed his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Çavuşoğlu about Armenia's large-scale provocations during a telephone conversation. It was brought to the attention that Armenia fired on the Azerbaijani positions, continued mining of Azerbaijani territories, and expanded the process of militarization in the region during the last months in order to prevent the provocation of the armed forces of Armenia and military threats against the territorial integrity and sovereignty of our country, and to ensure the safety of our servicemen and civilian workers involved in infrastructure works. Decisive response measures were taken by the units of the Azerbaijani army. Mevlut Çavuşoğlu stressed that military tensions and provocations are a cause for concern and underlined the importance of full fulfillment of Armenia's obligations within the framework of the agreements. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ceyhun Bayramov also had a telephone conversation with Karen Donfret, U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs. The minister informed the other side about the large-scale provocations of the Armenian armed forces, as well as the measures taken to prevent military threats against the territorial integrity and sovereignty of our country and to ensure the safety of our military personnel, including civilian workers involved in infrastructure works. Karen Donfret expressed her concern about the growing tension and military clashes in the region and called for an immediate cessation of hostilities. Azerbaijan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a statement on the provocation committed by the Armenian armed forces on the border with Azerbaijan. Any step against the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the Republic of Azerbaijan will be resolutely prevented, said the statement.
Starting from 12 September, Armenian armed forces have committed a large-scale provocation in Daşkəsən, Kəlbəcər and Laçin directions of the Azerbaijani-Armenian state border. According to the information provided by the Minister of Defense of the Republic of Azerbaijan, the sabotage groups of the armed forces of Armenia, using the mountainous relief of the area and existing valley gaps, carried out planting landmines on the areas between the positions of the units of Azerbaijan's army and the supply roads in different directions. Moreover, the Armenian armed forces fight intensively at the positions of the Azerbaijani army in Daşkəsən, Kəlbəcər and Laçin regions with different types of weapons, including mortars. As a result, there are casualties among the personnel of our armed forces. Damage was inflicted to the military infrastructure. Head of the Press Service Department of the NFA, Leyla Abdullayeva, stated that in order to prevent further provocations by the armed forces of Armenia in military threats against the territory and sovereignty of our country, to ensure the safety of our military personnel, including civilian workers involved in the infrastructure activities in the territory of Kəlbəcər and Laçin regions, the expansion of the scale of the military hostilities was averted, and in order to silence the firing points of the armed forces of Armenia, definitive retaliatory countermeasures were taken by the units of the Azerbaijani army deployed in this direction. Moreover, the information disseminated by the Armenian side that Azerbaijan's army allegedly targets the civilian population, facilities and infrastructure does not reflect reality and is another disinformation spread by the Armenian side. The MFA statement further emphasizes that in general, during the last months, the provocations of the Armenian armed forces in the direction of the Laçın, Gədəbəy, Daşkəsən and Kəlbəcər regions of state border and the firing of the positions of the Azerbaijan army in those regions with various types of weapons were intensive and systematic. At the same time, Armenia's increase in militarization along Azerbaijan's borders, deployment of heavy equipment and large-caliber weapons in the region indicated that Armenia was preparing for large-scale military provocation. Meanwhile, Armenia is delaying the normalization process with various pretexts, showing a destructive position in the negotiations conducted with international efforts, not withdrawing the Armenian armed forces from the territory of Azerbaijan, contrary to the obligations within the framework of trilateral statements and agreements, and continuing planting landmines, including recently produced in Armenia in the territory of Laçın, putting forward new conditions and disrupting the process of opening of communications and transport routes, as well as not responding to the peace agenda, demonstrated that Armenia is not interested in peace process and aims to undermine it. The following aggression of the Armenian side against Azerbaijan is a gross violation of the fundamental norms and principles of international law, as well as the provisions of the trilateral statements signed between the leaders of Azerbaijan, Armenia and the Russian Federation, and the agreements reached between Azerbaijan and Armenia. These steps of Armenia are completely contrary to the ongoing normalization and peace process. At the time when the Azerbaijani state was carrying out large-scale reconstruction and construction works in these territories liberated from occupation, Armenia once again showed that it hindered peace process by all means. Responsibility for the provocation, clashes and losses lies with the military political leadership of Armenia. Any actions against the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the Republic of Azerbaijan will be resolutely prevented, said the statement of MVA.
A telephone conversation took place between the Ministers of Defense of Azerbaijan and Turkey. Minister of Defense Zakir Hasanov informed Turkey's National Defense Minister Hulusi Akar about military confrontation, which took place as a result of the large-scale provocation by Armenia in Daşkəsən, Kəlbəcər and Laçın direction of Azerbaijan-Armenian state border, and added that the steps taken by the opposite side were resolutely prevented. Hulusi Akar noted that today, as it is always the case, Turkey stands by Azerbaijan. Clashes on the Azerbaijan-Armenia border are worrisome. Turkish presidential spokesperson İbrahim Kalın wrote this on his Twitter account. He said that while the negotiations continue, Armenia should stay away from provocations. Peace and stability can be achieved only on the basis of territorial integrity and legal rights of Azerbaijan. Turkey stands by Azerbaijan's, İbrahim Kalın noted. In connection with the large-scale provocation committed by the units of the Armenian armed forces, a briefing was held for military attachés of foreign countries accredited in Azerbaijan. Military representatives of foreign countries were provided with detailed information about large-scale provocations committed by the armed forces of Armenia in the directions of Azerbaijan's Daşkəsən, Kəlbəcər and Laçın districts. It was brought to the attention of international representatives that Azerbaijan is interested in establishing peace in the region, and the opposite side, on the contrary, demonstrates ignorance to the trilateral statement by mining Azerbaijani territories and the supply roads to Azerbaijan's military units, which is a clear proof that Armenia takes a position of military adventure and revanchism. It was once again stated that, namely, the military political leadership of Armenia bears all the responsibility for the tension, conflicts and losses caused by the large-scale provocation. That was all for the day. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.